Growing up, there were two things that we were taught. They were supposed to encourage us and bolster our confidence and make us feel better about ourselves, and yet they really didn't. Now, some of you may recognize these phrases, but most of you probably don't, because I don't think they teach them anymore. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. And yet, now as I look back as an adult, and I think back into my childhood or even my more recent history, it's not the physical injuries that still plague me today. In the last 2 years, I have undergone 4 surgeries, been rear-ended twice, which resulted in 2 concussions, busted the same shoulder both times. Really don't recommend that. And yet, I don't remember the physical pain from any of those. Even as I was preparing from one surgery to the next, in my mind, I had forgotten how bad it was going to hurt until I was experiencing that physical pain again. And yet, if I think back to when I was a kid and the way that I was taunted and teased and made fun of, those are the things that have stuck with me. Because the reality of it is that words have far greater power than we give them credit for. Words have a way of informing how we feel and how we see ourselves. Now, words can be used to encourage and bolster and make you feel good about yourself. And words can be used to tear you down and make you feel like you are less than the slime on the belly of a slug. As I think back to my 8th grade year, my first day of school, we had just moved to Cartersville the summer before that. And my mom had taken me out, and I was determined. I was bound and determined that this was finally going to be the school where I fit in, where I was going to make friends, and everything was going to be good. And my mom took me to the store, and we got a nice pair of dress pants and a nice shirt. And I sat on that gym floor sitting because that was my first period, my first day of school. And we had assigned seating, and so I was sitting there, and then after we did roll, because it was the first day of school and we didn't dress out, we just wandered around, and everybody went and they formed their little cliques, and I was just left sitting. As I looked over at people pointing and jeering and making fun of me. And it was around this time that I was going through horrific growing pains, especially in my knees. And in order to help alleviate it, I would pull my leg back, trying to stretch out the muscles to alleviate the pain, and that resulted in the nickname of Horse. And that stuck with me all through middle school and then into high school. And to this day, whenever I hear the theme song from Mr. Ed, I get just crushed. And it wasn't just me that they threw these taunts at. They would throw them at my sister too, for the very specific purpose of only doing it when I was around, because they knew that it would bother me, and I would jump to her defense because I did not want her to experience the same things that I was experiencing. But words never hurt you. They bounce off of me and stick to you, and yet somehow, apparently my rubber was super glue, and it stuck to me, and it's still there, and it still taunts me to this day. And like I mentioned, we had gym first period of the day. And we would dress out, and so we would go and we would get hot and we'd get sweaty, and we didn't have showers. So I would go from first period and I would change into my school clothes unless someone was kind enough to steal them. And I would go the rest of the day without a shower until I got home. And yet I would go into my second period class and I would find a stick of deodorant with instructions on how to use it, because people seem to think that using deodorant was the cure-all. Thankfully, we didn't have Febreze, or I'm pretty sure they would have sprayed me with it as I walked down the halls. And yet they weren't physically inflicting harm. It was those words that still stick with me today. And there are other words too, like freak and psycho, and words I'm not going to use because they're not appropriate. but I will let you fill in the blank. They weren't kind words. I was called stupid. I was called less than. I was told that I did not belong, that I wasn't smart enough, that I would never amount to anything. And those words stuck with me. And they started to filter the way that I saw the world, the way that I saw everything, more important, the way that I saw myself. And little by little, it crushed my soul. It kept pushing me down and pushing me down. But then as I got older and I started to recognize and realize who I really am, and I started to see more of myself, and I started to realize that I could take off this mask. I no longer had to try to be who everybody wanted me to be. I no longer had to be this person that I thought would finally get me accepted. I could simply be myself. And even now, at the age of 47, I still struggle with that. I find myself in an identity crisis because I don't know who I am. I know that I'm not a freak. I know that I'm not psycho because I grew up in Cartersville. I'm not psychedelic because they were too stupid to recognize that they did not mean psychotic like they thought they did. They're special over there. And yet, psychedelic is still a word that impacts me because I knew what they were saying. And so it's not the physical taunts. It's not getting slammed in my lockers. It's not getting the crap beat out of me that sticks with me today. It's not the pain from the multiple surgeries that still inflict me. It is the mental anguish of those words that continue to cause me pain. And as I said out here before you all today, aging from ranges, I'm guessing, around 12 to 18. And I hear the words that you throw at each other. The insults that you throw at one another, whether you do it in jest or not. I want you to understand and recognize that those words are going to stick to that person. So instead of using words to tear each other down, try to reflect and think about how it would feel if you were having those words thrown at you. And instead, use words of encouragement and kindness and build each other up, because this world will do more than enough to tear you down. You don't need anybody to help you. So let's all come together and find a way to move past these labels that have been stuck to us, that are still there, that are still holding us back. Let's take power over some of the words that maybe don't feel so good, but if we look at them through a different lens, we recognize that just because some of these words come with specific challenges doesn't mean that there are not also innate strengths. And I want you to think about these words, because when we come back together later this afternoon, we are going to be creating a piece of artwork based off of today's speech.